Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we need to redesign the Griffin 2X into something with just a little bit more vacuum TV. We just don't quite have enough to get to where I want to go. So, what do we have available for engines? We do have the Poodle available. So in theory, we could just take this whole part out here and get rid of it. This is going to be redesigned once we have a little bit more tech, but for this particular thing, and in fact I'm going to rename this to the Griffin 3X, and we're going to save that. For this particular setup, I do want to put in... I would love it if this connected to a Rockamax. That would be ideal. I think one of these do. So then we'd use a Rockamax probably... Oh, that's not quite big enough for a Rockamax. Maybe this one? I doubt it. That's awkward. I mean, that does connect there, but it doesn't quite fit up here. Do they have a steeper one? I mean, I think this is designed for connecting a Rockamax to this size of tank. But, I guess this will have to do. So we're going to have that adapter plus an X16. And how long of a burn time does that give us with a Poodle? That should be a pretty effective stage, right? I mean, the thrust to weight is pretty low. It's only 1033 meters per second. That is not much. So, hypothetically, if we were to run a T800 here, and then a Terrier... Well, that's... Oh, wait. Hang on. Hang on. I'm an idiot. I need to be setting this DV for vacuum DV. That's a little bit better. Okay, that's fine. So then we would put a big old decoupler here. And we'll need to lift this somehow. So a TD25 decoupler. We'll need to lift this thing somehow. And the question is, how exactly are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to put 2 Rockamax 32 tanks here, so that's a 64. A second 64. We'll see what kind of thrust to weight that gives us. Probably hot garbage. And we'll have to put on a skipper because we don't have access to a mainsail. We're probably going to have to drop some fuel here. 0.69. 0.86. It's better. We'll drop this down to a 16. How's that looking? 0.97? That's doable. And then we'd put on a couple of side couplers over here. Well, we're just going to two-couple this, I think. And then we're just going to basically duplicate this core. So we'll put in something like a 32, a 32, and a 16. Actually, we're going to ditch the 16. Because I want these to be able to lift themselves. That would be a good thing. And then we'll put a pair of skippers here. We put all this together, and that gives us 1.36 thrust to weight, which is not amazing, but is doable-ish. I'd really love to have this upgraded to a mainsail, but we don't have a mainsail just yet. So we'll go ahead and put on... We don't have large aerodynamic nose cones. I feel like that is not helpful. So we're going to have to leave those off for right now. And we will go ahead and just put in a strut connector like that. That'll be fine. And then, of course, we're going to need a fuel line going in like that. Okay. So, let's double check our staging here. Those fire all at once. Those detach. And then at this point, this is 0.97 thrust to weight, but that'll burn enough fuel quite quickly so that it will actually transform or transfer over to being positive. And then we launch this. Now we're currently slightly over mass, so we're going to have to do an upgrade here. I do want to set this at sea level thrust to weight. 1.19. That's definitely on the low side. We may want to strap on a pair of thumpers over here, just to get us off the ground. So we'd put on a pair of thumpers out over this way. Probably lower them down pretty considerably, about like that. We'd put on aerodynamic nose cones on these, and then we would strut those together. Honestly, we can just strut them like this, and it's fine. We want to leave this strut here because the thumpers will be detaching relatively quickly. We want to merge these stages together and check our thrust to weight. 1.39. That's better. And then the thumpers detach. And then the side tanks detach. Hopefully that's in the right order. What is the burn time on the thumpers? Okay. 42 seconds on the thumpers. And that apparently, undoing that apparently broke the staging. That's excellent. Okay, so thumpers detach, and then the side tanks detach, and then the main core detaches, and then the maneuvering stage detaches. Yep, that all looks good staging-wise. Now we're going to have to make sure that we can have more mass on our pad. So let's see how much that upgrade would cost. Yikes. That's a lot. $282K. I'll do it. And then we want to probably run some of these satellite missions just for cash. I'm going to accept them right now for the advance. So we're going to accept this one, and this one. We're not going to do them immediately, though, because I don't want to do that this episode. So we're going to hop into the VAB with our newly found capital, and we're going to launch this guy, and this has more than enough Delta V to orbit the moon. Like, this is a very overbuilt. My main concern is our initial thrust to weight as we're going up, but in theory, this should get there. Now, we don't, of course, currently have our aerodynamics set up, so we're going to need to make sure that we have some winglets, and we're going to quadcouple winglets over in this region here. That was bicoupled. We want quad-coupled winglets, and I want to go in like that. Just sneak in there. Excellent. And that's actually very close. Then I think we'll just have bicoupled winglets out here. And that gets us aerodynamically stable. Fantastic. So I think we're ready to try this thing. Who do we want to bring? Probably just Jeb and Bob again. Their last flight didn't go so well, so we will see if this flight goes a little bit better. It should. It absolutely should. As long as I don't press spacebar at the wrong time. Okay, I think we are good to go. Double checking staging. This all looks good, in theory. Yeah. That thrust to weight actually feels decent as well. We're going to have to ditch the SRBs, relatively low altitude. Our apoapsis is almost to 1 kilometer. Okay. We're definitely going up a little bit slower than I'm used to. That'll change when we get mainsails. But you'll notice I'm not getting horizontal velocity early on this time, although I am going to start getting a little now, just because I don't want to bomb the base with the SRBs. Okay, we'll now hold. SRBs detaching. Fantastic. And we're going to keep getting a little bit of horizontal velocity. We're only at an apoapsis of 10 kilometers, though, which is slightly on the spooky side. Our acceleration isn't super fast. Getting mainsails will help that. Okay, we are at an apoapsis currently of 20 kilometers. And I'm just going to sit at 45 degrees right now, just leading the prograde node over a little bit. Excellent. That'll do. We're going to be detaching these side fuel tanks in a few seconds. When that happens, we're going to have a couple seconds of less than 1 thrust to weight. There we go. 0.98, 0.99, 1.0. Okay. We now have positive thrust to weight, so that's good. We should probably be catching up with the prograde node a little bit. And we should just be sitting prograde right now. Just keep it there, and hopefully our apoapsis makes it to 70k. That's the idea here. We've still got a lot of DV in this tank. The question is, do we have the thrust to weight to utilize it before we hit the apoapsis? Our time to apoapsis is currently holding at 59 seconds, which is kind of a good sign. Okay, it's dropping currently, but it's not dropping very quickly, so I think we have enough time. Holding at 58. Still holding at 58. Now it's going up. That's fantastic. This was a reasonable launch profile, too. I like it. Apoapsis is now in space. We're going to aim once again for about 80 kilometer apoapsis. So we're just going to keep burning prograde until then. Just adjusting our roll a little bit. $76, $77. Okay, there we go. We'll be entering space momentarily. We'll add a maneuver right here. And we'll just do something like that. And this time I'm not going to mess it up. We're only 300 meters per second away, too. Yeah, that was much better. Okay, this is a 23-second burn, so we're going to want to burn this at T minus 11.5 seconds. I'm warping to that now. So we want to burn basically now. Stability assist, please. Thank you. We're kind of rocking a little bit right now. We have more than enough DV for this with this design. Like, way more than enough. Okay, we are in orbit. Fantastic. These are some of the satellite orbits that we're going to be targeting with some of our satellite launches, and honestly, these are good orbits for communication satellites. I like it. And then this is just an equatorial orbit around the moon. Yeah, that seems fine, honestly. Okay, so let's get ourselves an orbital maneuver for the moon. And we're going to want to burn a little later than this, obviously. How's that looking? Okay. What can we get in terms of closeness? Okay, we're going to want to burn a little bit differently. That is a decent encounter that we can tune. Maybe not. We're going to need to change when we burn this slightly. That's a good encounter. We're going to aim for about 40 kilometers. Actually, we're going to aim for about 30. I want to be in moon low orbit. Okay, there we go. So we will go ahead and orient for that. Our SAS is not very efficient at moving this much weight. But we have so much DV for this. This is an absurd amount of DV. Like, this heavy lifter will be more than enough for our lander. Okay, we want to warp to next maneuver, which means we want to select over here. There we go. And this is just going to be even more efficient when we can replace this skipper with a mainsail. I don't think we need to replace our external tanks with a mainsail. But this particular skipper we can definitely replace with a mainsail. And maybe put a big ol' SAS module down here. That might not be the worst idea. Or perhaps right here. That might be okay too. Okay. So we're going to want to burn this at T-minus 22 seconds. Just trying to orient a little bit more. There we go. Our burn time was hit there. Excellent. And we'll just go ahead and hit this maneuver node a little bit here. We're going to be running out of fuel close to the end of this burn, but slightly after the end of this burn. So we'll be able to use the remainder of this fuel with a braking burn around the moon. Or we may use it fine-tuning our approach. We'll have to see. Okay, 3 meters per second left. Good enough. How's that looking? Too close. Okay, we'll just have to physics warp heading over towards retrograde. And let's bump that up to like 20 kilometers. Okay, here we are retrograde. 25 will do. Good enough. So let's go ahead and warp to here. Goodbye, Kerbal. And honestly, this heavy lifter is going to last us a good long time. Like, I'm pretty pleased with this heavy lifter. It really does its job well. So, at the periapsis here, we are going to go ahead and add a quick maneuver. And we are going to circularize this. Like, we probably have enough that we could swing by Minmus on the way back and grab some flyby and orbital data. Like, we have so much DV. It's absurd. We could probably go to Gilly. I don't know about coming back from Gilly, but we could go to Gilly. That would be absurd. Okay, so we're going to want to get oriented here. So let's just slowly rotate our way on over. And then we will get in orbit around the moon and grab what data we can. Now we're going to want to grab our in-space high data again here. So I'm just getting positioned here. We'll grab our in-space high data. Fantastic. We'll go ahead and collect all that. And then Bob can EVA and reset this. So we'll restore the Science Junior. SAS on, open up this service bay, and restore the Mystery Goo containment unit. Close the service bay. We weren't born in a barn. Actually, Bob may have been born in a barn. I can't speak for Bob. I wasn't born in a barn, in theory. And I don't think we'll grab this time. Next time we pass by, we'll grab the next in-space high data. So we will just go ahead and warp to next maneuver. Okay, here's in space low. This is a 19-second burn. We will go ahead and get in orbit before we worry about any science. So we're going to want to burn this at what, 10.5 seconds or 9.5 seconds. So we'll just warp forward a little bit further. Now. And off goes our core stage. Excellent. Good enough. Okay, there we are in orbit. So we'll grab a crew report, temperature scan, atmospheric pressure scan, mystery goo observation, materials study. We'll have Bob hop out an EVA report. Fantastic. And now he will go ahead and restore these. We didn't collect that data. Okay. We'll go ahead and collect it and restore. Fantastic. And now we will open up the service bay. Collect the data from the... Oh, hello. Come on. There we go. Collect this data as well. Bob, come on. Collect this data. Yep, remove the data. Restore that. Close, and we'll just go hop back in. Excellent. Did this not get restored? I'm confused. I guess X-Science is just confused. Okay, we'll collect what data that we can here. There we go. And it appears that X-Science is very confused about the state of this data. But we don't appear to be able to click on the mystery goo. I think that didn't actually get restored. So let's just check this here. We'll restore the Science Junior. And the mystery goo. Okay. There we go. Now that stuff is good to go. We'll grab the in-space low EVA report near the moon's, what is this, Midlands? Lowlands. And we'll just hop on. Excellent. We'll go ahead and re-grab these. There we go. And we're not going to grab them again. This is starting to get really low on the amount of data. But I am going to go ahead and put an empty maneuver node in here, just to mark where we are. And we do want to stop time warping. And we will go ahead and time warp around a little bit. Okay, this is Highlands, so we'll EVA and grab that EVA report. Excellent. Collect everything that we can. We can't collect out of these because the identical data is already saved, of course. East Farside Crater. That's a place we actually can get the moon rock from for our contract. Midland Craters. Excellent. So far, a whole lot of nothing else. Farside Crater. We'll keep that one. And what else do we have here? Northwest Crater. Fantastic. Grab that. And we've got about 10 minutes left in this orbit. Make that 7. It looks like that's about all we're going to get in this orbit for now. Yep, that's it. Okay, so we are ready to send these guys on home. But before we do that, it is time to put a cut in here, so that's going to have to be a job for next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and next episode, we're going to bemoan the fact that we have way too much fuel. See you all then.